Hi. Okay, so 4 years ago when we first faced the pandemic, I sincerely needed to find something to do. But after a while, I found myself extremely bored and I thought I would take up a new hobby. And the hobby that I thought I would take up was reading. I honestly barely graduated and I rejected any form of forced education for as long as I can remember. So me reading a book by choice was a very, very big deal for me. But I did it and I quickly found out that I absolutely loved it. And I was also so happy because at the time I had just recently quit alcohol. So reading took my mind off of the things of this world that I was so desiring. So something fun and innocent to do before bed that wasn't drinking, until I quickly found out what I was doing was not as innocent as I thought it was. The thing is, I have always been a romantic person. And guess what? A lot of women are. Women are drawn to romance. I mean, most women have to practically beg their husband to watch a romance movie with them. But in 2024, a lot of women don't have this problem anymore. I'd argue because men are becoming more and more demasculinized by the day through media and hidden agendas. But in short, women are just naturally more emotional creatures. We are wired differently than men. And I know this might be a stretch, but I really do believe that women are craving masculinity because we have such a decrease in men in America, to the point where women are running to books that showcase masculine men, which is why I believe this side of book talk has blown up like it has. And also because while visual porn is made by men for men, these erotic books are written by women for women. If I think back far enough, I had a girl I was friends with in high school, and senior year she invited me to come to her house, and she brought me up to her room where there was like 50 plus books stacked on the ground, which is what I found myself reading during the pandemic. So I now know what's in those books, but at the time I was just thinking, dang, this girl loves to read. But now I look at that situation so differently because my friend, who was only 16 years old at the time, was actively reading porn. Women are reading porn. Books are the female porn for women. And I can't express to you enough how important it is that we talk about this, because this is on a whole different level for women than it is for men in a very unique way. And let me tell you why that is. It's because women can be engaging in porn right in front of you and you wouldn't even know. Women can be engaging with porn in a public park, on an airplane, on the couch next to their family, and nobody would know, other than other women that do the same thing. It's no secret that men watch porn more than women. Not to say there isn't women that have seriously struggled with porn addiction and are currently still struggling, but the male viewership dominates the female viewership. Again, I would argue that this is because of the emotional nature of women, that watching two people engage in this manner that have no backstory or love connection is unattractive to most women. But when there is romance involved, women are naturally just more interested. So when I picked up reading, I was drawn to romance books and I quickly found myself reading this stuff. At first, it was innocent and then it had a little bit of spice. And here's a girl who had a very similar story to mine.
I started getting into reading around 2020 during COVID. You start with young adult, then you go into contemporary romance, start being a little more like erotic, and they have maybe one or two scenes. And then you get into smut, and then you get TikTok recommendations of these like insanely smutty books.
I think it's important to share that because in being someone that had no intention of reading porn, but in a very slow progression, before you know it, you are actively engaging in porn. And it's kind of embarrassing to talk about, but I'm figuring that's maybe why there hasn't been too many videos of people talking about this topic, because only women know. Well, for the most part, only women know because it can be kept a secret so easily. But a lot of women read these books. And unfortunately, a lot of women under 18 read these books. Even parents are completely unaware that this is going on with their children, and they just think that their child loves reading. Also, something that cannot just be ignored is that an app called Wattpad, which is loaded with erotic fiction, has over 90 million users per month, with 90% of users being between age 13 and 35, 70% of their readers being females. And our world today will paint a picture that this is normal. To be in your room watching two people become intimate in various different ways. For women to be alone, imagining themselves becoming intimate with various different made-up people in their mind. Not to mention the amount of books out there that take sex to all new heights, including bondage, abuse, and the list goes on. I mean, take a look at 50 Shades of Grey, for example. Over 150 million copies of that book were sold. Humans are clearly becoming more and more sexually open the more desensitized to sex we are by movies and TV shows. But you cannot ignore the direct direct link between human behavior and what the media puts out. Sex used to be something that was held to such a high value. To lay with someone and share such an intimate connection is no longer looked at with such value. And I cannot believe I'm saying this, but so much so that TV is now introducing adding a third person to the mix like it's nothing. Remember I said this, I have such a hunch that polyamorous relationships are gonna be a societal norm in no time. I cannot believe I'm saying that. I mean, just head into your local Barnes and Nobles and you can find a bunch of books to help you enter into a polyamorous relationship. I just think about all of the young children that are just aimlessly walking around Barnes and Nobles and in 2 seconds can be offered with such confusion and seeds being planted into their mind. Barnes and Nobles has suddenly become R-rated. I really don't think people understand the full extent to this, and I do because I entered into that world. The devil has clearly had his hand on movies and TV shows, but did you know how heavily his hand is on books?
Sometimes all you need is a seriously good steamy book, so here are my recommendations, and I'm going to try and convince you to read these books.
That I got them all to read because she grew up Catholic and I was like, y'all are gonna love this book. But one day he is doing like confessionals and Poppy ends up coming into the church. She ends up becoming attracted to Father Tyler Bell. He is having thoughts that he should not be having about any of his patron or any of his sheep of his flock that he's leading in church.
There aren't enough pepper emojis to convey how much spice is in this book. Every chapter, spice.
My goal in making this video is to bring what is hidden in the darkness into the light. I wanted to use this video to expose what is going on behind the closed doors for a lot of women, and that includes Christian women. And I can't tell you how many young girls, as young as 13 years old, are exposed to an app called Wattpad, and their parents think their children are innocently reading, but they are not, and there is nothing innocent about it. To the parents watching this video, I'm sorry, but the odds are really high that your teenage daughter has the app called Wattpad or purchases books from these romance book authors. Be watchful for your children and the children around you and let other parents know. Expose what is being hidden in the dark and bring it into the light, because there's so many parents that are completely unaware that their daughter is reading porn.
Recently, I had an incident where there was a little girl in one of the book recommendation videos that I posted asking, am I too young for this book? And before I could even answer this poor girl and tell her, no, I don't think you're old enough to read this, some other kid responds and she goes, oh no, you're not too young. I read this book when I was 9. And I especially saw parents being neglectful during Christmas when I saw this one video of this girl talking about how her 11-year-old sister got a copy of Icebreaker for Christmas from her parents. And it was shocking to me that parents just aren't monitoring what kids are doing on social media, what they're reading.
Share this with other parents. My Christian men watching this video, keep an eye out for your sisters in Christ. I think if I just had one brother in Christ at the time point out to me that I shouldn't be reading that, I probably would have put this down a lot sooner than I did. And lastly, my Christian ladies, put these books down. I know it's not easy. I was in your exact situation if you find yourself in this situation. I know what it feels like to reason in your mind that there could not be any real harm with this. But we are told to guard our hearts and our minds. We are told to take every thought captive and make it obedient to Christ. These lustful thoughts poison your mind in ways that we may not be able to understand. They plant seeds in your mind that are not from God, and it can give you unrealistic expectations. And in my opinion, I think you could end up missing what's right in front of you. Again, it may not seem harmful because it starts out as such a small seed, but any seed that is planted in our mind that we continue to water, that seed takes root and it grows. In this situation, here is an example of that. When I was researching for this video, I came across a woman that was sharing her smuttiest books, and in the beginning of the video she is encouraging other women to purchase a sex toy. So I am encouraging you today, if you find yourself here, to find a new genre, pray about it, and ask God to help you be drawn to something that is not polluting your mind with garbage. We need to protect ourselves and be watchful because the devil is prowling around like a roaring lion. The devil is not very hard to point out, and he is more clever than you and I. He knows what will tempt men, and he knows exactly what is going to tempt women, because the world today may have forgotten what a woman is but the devil did not. And lastly, can we please get some more Christian authors, especially in the romance section? We need more of those. But when I was researching for this video, I found a lot of clean romance books. So any girls that are struggling with that, I provided a list in the description box of this video. So I pray that helps. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, just go ahead and hit that thumbs up button below this video, because maybe we can get this out to anybody else that needs to hear it. And I'll see you guys for our next video. Hey guys, what's up? Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you want to see more videos to help you grow in your faith with Jesus, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and also that notification bell so you're notified the second we post a new video. And I will see you guys in the comments.